desperate and frightening situation in many parts of southern Alberta today. Torrential rains have swollen rivers, creating chaos and danger. In Calgary alone, city officials are saying up to 100,000 people will be forced to evacuate their homes in the hours to come. The heavy downpour has already resulted in serious flooding and given rise to states of emergency in a number of communities, including Canmore and Banff in the Rocky Mountains. And Calgary, where the Bow River and Elbow Rivers are alarmingly high, already the foothills have been hammered. In the towns of Okotoks, High River and Black Diamond, which is where the CBC's Colleen Underwood spent the day.
Now, the river behind me, it's flooded over its banks, washed out the bridge behind me, and from what I've been told, officials have been trying to build a trench beside the river, trying to relieve some of that pressure, but that got washed out. Homes in the area have been evacuated. About 50 homes have been evacuated in the town of Black Diamond. As well, we've seen a lot of the water spilling over into the streets, rising high, covering up some cars and coming up high along the sides of the homes here. I also spent some time in High River today. They're dealing with a lot of flooding there as well along the Highwood River there. We were filming in the downtown core when it seemed as though within a few minutes a rush of water came over the banks of the river, dealing with a lot of flooding in the streets there, a rush of water there. And town officials there have evacuated many of the communities, have set up an evacuation center at the local high school where people are gathered. As well, RCMP in the area say they're advising people not to drive into the town of High River. They say that they're dealing with pretty much flooding right throughout the town. States of emergency throughout southern Alberta, as I mentioned here in Black Diamond, in High River, in the town of Cochrane, in Canmore, as well as the city of Calgary is under a state of emergency. The concern, though, is that the Bow River and the Elbow River there will be spilling over the banks. In the past, they tried to deal with flooding by lowering the Glenmore Reservoir in the city, but apparently they're concerned about that spilling over as well. So a lot of people have a lot of concern right now, and they're just waiting to see how this is all going to unfold in the coming hours. Colleen Underwood, CBC News in Black Diamond.
The sleepy Cougar Creek roared to life, captured on video by some very daring people who live next to what's usually a tranquil creek. The creek is usually a meter wide and several centimeters deep, but it's not the destructive fact. Entire backyards gone, decks left dangling. Wade Graham shot this video, a front row seat to this suddenly surging creek. He describes it as surreal.
You know, an entire row of houses up along the creek now, the foundations are all compromised, and we're watching like refrigerators float down the creek that is normally a dry, benign creek bed.
Accessing the community was virtually impossible. The Trans-Canada was washed out, so too was Highway 1A. From the air, the destruction is extensive. Roads and bridges either washed out or on the verge of being wiped out. Dozens of homes submerged in the muddy, debris-laden water. It's unclear how many homes have been evacuated. Everyone on the east side of Cougar Creek has been ordered out. In some parts of town, raw sewage has seeped into basements.
There's about a $100,000 BMW out in the water.
A shock, it seems, to people who didn't expect to see anything like this. Graham was asked about the preparedness of emergency officials.
The gas was turned off relatively early. You know, we've had definitely file officers.
Highway 31 and 31A out of town. Also in Fairmont Hot Springs, and the Trans-Canada is closed east of Golden into Alberta due to multiple washouts. BC's River Forecast Centre has issued a flood watch for rivers and streams all across the west and east Kootenay. The worst flooding is north of Caslow, as mentioned, at the north end of Kootenay Lake. Those two mudslides shut down Highway 31 in both directions, and the route between Caslow and New Denver along Highway 31A is also a no-go.
Here we are again with mud in our yard. So this is from a culvert getting blocked and backing up. There is currently no water going through the culvert. It's on our road and in our backyard. So it's
You heard it. This is cell phone video from a resident of Fairmont Hot Springs. The flooding there was caused by a blocked culvert. Highways crews have spent the day dismantling the damaged culvert to relieve the built-up water. The next step is to replace it once the water has dissipated. And while the rains are expected to ease in the region, there is still more to come. Well, Johanna Wagstaff is out in the